What up? What up? Welcome into another episode of Profit Picks. If you are new, we always start this show by being transparent, and we got our good friend Rob here back. It's been a while since we did that. I gotta say, uh, before I even get into that, what's up, Rob? How you doing?
I am good today, buddy. We are back at it now after what seems like a long time off, but glad to be back here. We'll try and make this happen every Thursday and Friday for all of you watching. We have a lot of fun here, so let's kick it off and have a little bit of fun here today.
Absolutely. And yesterday, we got back on track. I went 5-1 in the association. The best bet on the show won, which was Simmons over 13 and a half rebounds plus assists, and also the 5% one, which was the Celtics. So nice day all around. We'll try to keep that going into today. How did NBA treat you to start, Rob?
Boy, the NBA was good, Skee. 3-0 last night. We had New Orleans, which was nice. We had Minnesota, Toronto under, which also worked out nice. And third play in was the Indiana Pacers team total over 120, which I don't know. It seemed like they were going to get that from the opening tip, and they got that pretty easy. So it was a good day. We had a college football winner as well yesterday with the Jacksonville State game over the total. Got us to 4-0 plus 11 units. So I like those, Skee. When they go the way you handicap them, it's always a nice day.
Absolutely. And it's been a while, but Boofer's still taking his shots, his guesses. He says, today feels like a light blue day. He was
Let
wrong. He
me
came back and he said, oh, the Phoenix Orange.
Well, let me for Boofer, let me say this. I put, 15 seconds worth of thought into which one to wear today, Ski. And since you and we saw each other a couple of times in the off season in Las Vegas, and when we knew we were going to get back together and do this on Thursdays and Fridays, I decided today we're really back together because of the NBA. This show, we're going to be consistent because the NBA has started. And I figured, well, the basketball is orange. Let's wear orange. So that 15 seconds of thought is why I'm wearing the orange today.
Well, it looks nice. And let's get back to business. We got what I think four sports in action today: college football, NFL, NHL, NBA. So a lot of money to be made across the slate. Um, I appreciate you guys in the comment section as well. Much love to you guys. And let's get to it. I feel like we have two NBA games. I'll get this out the way. We have an NHL game that I'm pretty interested in. So let's see if I still know how to do this. Yeah, we could change it up there.
The graphics department is in.
All right, this one here, and this one is very simple. If you guys were around last year, you'll probably remember why I'm taking this. But actually, let's see if we can get it up here on the screen. It's been a while since I've done that, but should be able to. For one, Minnesota Wild have gone over every game except for the first game that they started, and all having seven or more goals. So other than that, we're gonna call this trend the party guy trend. And bear with me 1 second. I should have it right here up shared. There we go. Can you guys see this here? You see this, Rob?
I got it clear, buddy. Yep.
All right. So the party guy trend is pretty much teams that played in Vegas their last game and are returning home. You know, like I always say, athletes are human just like everybody else. They come out here after the game, they probably want to turn up a little bit, have a little bit of fun. It's probably not like Vegas where they're from. Then they go back home and they don't want to play any defense. That's just how I make sense of this trend. So a combination of that with just how Minnesota's defense been pretty bad this year, and they've been able to score. I feel like a little bit more than um, a little bit more than I remember last season. So I like the over 6 goals. It did come down from the 6.5 as the opener, but it's what I like. And you see this trend here 35, 11, and 1, 67, 76.1% to the over average total, right about where we're at today, 6.1. So Flyers, Wild will go over 6 to start off here, Rob. Anything from you on this game? I know you don't do a whole lot of hockey, but any opinions there?
Yeah, it's got to do with hockey, Ski. I'm going to listen rather than talk. What you say makes sense. So if I get involved, it would be on decide that you've handicapped, but no, college hoop's going to start in a couple of weeks. We're going to have enough on our hands without hockey. So I'll do more listening and talking where NHL is concerned.
All right, fair enough. That'll be it for NHL. I'm not too deep into it. I do like to handicap the playoffs when we get there, but other than that, it'll be very sparingly when I have some NHL plays. So that is the one for today. I feel like after that, we do have NFL, we have college football. Let's go. I don't have much to say about the college football. Um, I know you'll probably be able to help us out there, Rob. So let's do a little bit of that. First game I see here is you got the Syracuse orange on too, right? So let's go Syracuse and Virginia Tech. This one opened Virginia Tech -3. We see it now. I mean, there's some 2.5 popping up, but pretty much 3 everywhere. Total open 47, and looks like it's hanging pretty steady. I see 47.5 everywhere. You looking to back the orange, or are you looking at the total in this one, Rob?
And I guess you could say, Skee, that Virginia Tech has some orange in there too, so I could almost be neutral here, playing both sides of this contest where color is concerned. I kind of like the Virginia Tech side, to tell you the truth. They made a quarterback switch. Actually, it was out of necessity because their original quarterback, their number one, Grant Wells, got hurt. They brought in Kyron Drones, who's been really good the time he's been in there. And I think Wells is healthy now, so it'll be interesting to see where they stick tonight where quarterback is concerned. But I think it'll probably be Drones. He brings a little bit of a running element to the team, which Grant Wells, former Marshall quarterback, didn't. And Virginia Tech's been better offensively with Drones at the helm. For Syracuse, it's been injury riddled for them. They started off really fast, got really banged up, and it's gone downhill like an avalanche ever since. So the Qs off a bye may have been able to recuperate. Not too sure what they're going to look like on the field here tonight, but I'd be more confident in the Virginia Tech side, their offensive ways with Drones at quarterback. Even though Syracuse has had an extra week to prepare, it seems as if the dual threat element could cause Syracuse some problems in this game. Neither team is extremely efficient offensively. Just because Drones has taken over and made Virginia Tech better, it doesn't mean that there's some kind of offensive juggernaut right now. So you might want to look under if you were going to play total in this game. I don't have a play on this total. So whatever I say, use to add to your own handicapping here. But I do think that the Virginia Tech side is probably the right side in this game. It's a team that's built some confidence, a team that's going in the right direction. And we'll see how Syracuse comes out of their off week, but I don't think they're heading the right way. So if I had to play, it would be Virginia Tech at this low price.
And I have to ask you this then. We have some opinions in the chat. We have Anthony saying he loves Syracuse. Ronell likes the under. I'm looking at it. Syracuse has gone under every single game so far this year. So is this a situation where, is it correlated between, if you like Syracuse, you like the under, if you like Virginia Tech, you might look the other way? Is that what's maybe holding you up from taking the under in this game?
Well, I think the only thing that holds me up, Skee, is that for the number, right? Because we're always betting into the number. And at 47 and a half in college football nowadays, you watch these teams make that number by mistake. They get over. There's some explosiveness, that 4-letter word is important. There's some explosiveness to the Virginia Tech offense. And the defenses may be the best 2 units on the field, which means you could get defensive scores as well. So for me, generally, and I know numbers are placed low and they still go under, but in college football, I just generally don't like to be under a number like this. 31-17 gets you beat. 24-24, if it makes overtime, you get beat. So I'll lay you off. I think you could tease it. Well, people religiously swear off of teasing college football because there's more variance than there is in the NFL. But, if you get this thing up to like 53 and a half, that would appeal to me more than 47 and a half does.
All right, fair enough, Rob. I know Ronell is good with those unders. I know you like that comment. It's never going away, Rob.
Wow, it's never. I'm just gonna put that in my background from now on. Two gigantic cheeks.
So Rob, looking a little bit towards the VTech side, I want to try to find reasons to back the under, but again, I'm not a big college football guy at all, and I will likely not be involved in that game. Next one up, only other college football game we have today, we'll go Georgia State at Georgia Southern. This one open Georgia Southern minus 2.5. We now see a consensus of one across the board. Total open 62.5. No movement there. Consensus of 62.5. So assuming this is a rivalry game of some sort, Rob, would you be looking towards, the underdog to keep it close, even though it's not that many points, I guess it's just straight up win. How are you looking at this one?
Yeah, this one, I think we see the movement in the line now, Ski, because of the quarterback situation at Georgia State. Their quarterback, Darren Granger, seems like he's been around forever. Got banged up a little bit last week. He did re-enter the game, though, and it looks like he's going to go tonight, which is important for Georgia State. Two of the better teams in the Sun Belt. You mentioned rivalry. I think a rivalry is being created between these two in-state teams now that they're both in the same conference and now that they're both very good. Contrast in styles. For those who don't watch these teams, Georgia Southern is an air raid, throw it around a lot type of team. Davis Brin, their quarterback Tulsa last year. But he's throwing it around a lot each and every game here for Georgia Southern. They go extremely fast. You'll see a lot of tempo out of this team. Where Georgia State on the offensive side is more reliant upon their really, really good offensive line. You could argue that this is the best offensive line in the conference. And they're balanced. They'll run it. They'll throw it. Like I say, Granger at quarterback has been around quite a while. He runs the offense really well. I like that side in this game. I think the fact that they're not the one-trick pony that Georgia Southern is. I think the fact that Georgia State's a little more physical than Georgia Southern is gets them across the finish line here. Obviously, you can tell by the line, it's expected to be a close game. Georgia State went on the road last week, and as I mentioned, got their starting quarterback banged up a little bit, and still was able to win on the road against Louisiana, formerly known as UL Lafayette, which is also another physical football team, and that was going to be a difficult team. Georgia State was the dog. They won straight up. I think they do it again, Ski. I like Georgia State here. Totals high for a reason. Like I say, Georgia Southern games are going to be really fast tempo. Georgia State may try to slow them down a little bit, but more often than not, you get sucked into tempo, and Georgia State can play it that way. Number seems to be in a good place where total's concerned. And since it is such a big game, defenses might come to play a little bit. If you're looking to lean on defense, lean on the Georgia State side. They're the better defense. So I think probably that visiting side here, Georgia State's the right way to go.
Good stuff on that. So Rob liking one small dog, one small favorite for the college football slate, college football Thursday slate, and people feeling a lot of different ways in the chat. I see Christian liking Syracuse and Georgia Southern. Uh, Boofer, he's liking Georgia Southern. So a lot of differing opinions. We'll see who comes out on top. Munaf says 99 people watching and only 20 likes. Shame.
We agree.
And Gundam Atticus agreeing. He says, shame, hit that like button. I appreciate you guys. And yes, if you guys enjoy the show, please hit the like button. It does help us out quite a bit. And that is the college football section. So we'll keep it moving. I feel like we'll save NBA for last. Let's move on over to Thursday night football. And here we go. I was going to say, I know I have a banner for this one. This one I do have some opinions on, and I'm curious what you think about this. It opened Bills -8. We now see it as high as 10, but a lot of 9.5s out there. So make sure you line shop if you like the Bills side. Total open 43.5. And we're still looking at a consensus of 43.5. Buffalo, I just don't think they're that great of a team, honestly. We've seen, in my opinion, some pretty uninspiring performances this season. I know they're coming off a loss, and last time they came off a loss, they stomped their opponent, I believe. But I just don't trust them, and I feel like Tampa Bay's defense has been solid. The only way I can think to play this one, like I think both defenses can show up honestly in this game. But what I want to play more than that, what I think is most consistent, I'll just go with Diggs. I'll go with Stephon Diggs over. I got 85 and a half receiving yards. And he's hit this, I want to say 5 out of 7 games. 5 out of the 7 games. And he's also hit his receptions in 5 out of the 7. Trying to pull up my notes here. Apologize. So pretty much, they're just getting him the ball. He's got way more targets than everybody else. He has 78 targets this year. The next best after him is Gabe Davis. He's averaging, or he averages a little bit over 100 receiving yards per primetime game last year, and in the home ones last season, he hit 100 plus in 2 out of 3. Um, Notes I have here: Bucks haven't recovered from losing Sean Murphy Bundy in the slot. 4 out of 6 games versus Tampa Bay this season, the opposing team's number one receiver hit at least 100 yards. And Tampa Bay, number 22 in opponent yards per pass attempt, number 27 in opponent passing yards per game. So off a loss, I mean, it's what they've been doing all year anyway. I think we go Stephon Diggs over 85 and a half receiving yards and over 6.5 receptions. Any opinion on that prop? And how do you feel about this game, Rob?
Yeah, this is an interesting game. I can't disagree with the prop. Let's start right there. Stephon Diggs, more and more often, Ski, it seems like you see him on the sideline just demanding the football. So where your prop is concerned, you would have to think that does kind of tilt Josh Allen his way. Not only is he the best receiver on the team, but he does demand the football. So never argue with a Diggs prop. But let's look at this. Last week I played a game, very, very unpopular play. I don't think you find a lot of people who thought this would happen, but I did play Buffalo and New England over 40 and a half. General opinion last week would be, Mac Jones sucks. New England can't score. But the Buffalo defense hurt by some key injuries, right? You just can't lose Matt Milano. You just can't lose Tre'Davious White. You just can't lose Ed Oliver. They had one key guy at every level of defense out of that game. And what happened? New England, throwing-wise, goes 25 of 30 for 268 yards and scores 29 points and wins the game. Ed Oliver may be back this week. Buffalo's had 1 week to adjust to the subtraction of Milano and Tre'Davious White from the back seven. But I don't know that they can recover from it. Ski, you're talking about two guys that are all pros, and those are hard to replace. Tampa Bay is not the best throwing team, but Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans, they have their moments. So I kind of lean toward the underdog here. There's been an awful lot of money toward Buffalo, but I think when we see that 9.5, odds makers do that more to prevent themselves from getting hurt by teasers than they do because there's a flood of money coming in on one side. Tampa Bay also with a lot of reason to be motivated here. I think they're on a 2-game losing streak. Buffalo in off a loss. Both teams off a short week. So there's not much motivationally to give an advantage to one side or the other. It really comes down to which defense is going to play better. Which offense do you think is going to play better? Do you think either one of these quarterbacks will make a key mistake? And Allen and Mayfield are both prone to mistakes. When it comes down to something like that, I think you take the points. 9.5 seems like an awful lot to me. The total's probably in a good place. I could see something like 23-20 happening here, which puts it right on the total number. So that's a tough play to make as far as over-under is concerned. But I don't think it's all that difficult to take your shot with the home underdog at this price. Again, when you're on a couple-game losing streak and in the division that they're in, NFC South, which is winnable all season long. There's not a dominant team in that division, so you don't want to keep losing. You want to try and get yourself a win. I think 9.5 is too many points here. Buffalo, probably slightly better personnel-wise, but I do think those defensive injuries are key here. And maybe Evans, Mayfield can hook up enough to get themselves a cover.
Yeah, I agree that I don't feel comfortable laying with the Bills 100%. I would probably lean more towards taking it with the Bucks if I have to. Let's look at a couple comments before I share my next opinion here and ask you my next question. But Saturated likes Josh Allen interception -107. In your breakdown, you talked about which quarterback's going to make a mistake or make a mistake first. I think, and we have in this section here, Rick White says he likes both quarterbacks to throw an
Yeah.
interception. I mean, you got Josh Allen minus 107. I think Baker Mayfield was at a fair price too. I want to say somebody put it in the chat earlier. Sounds like you would endorse both quarterbacks to throw an interception, right?
Yeah, and you've got two defensive-minded head coaches, Skee. Two head coaches that were former defensive coordinators that will, design a defense to either confuse or frustrate other one. I don't even think you have to confuse Josh Allen, right? He will throw into trouble at times. Where Mayfield, you could probably confuse a little bit more. So I think I like what Rick White had to say there, and what Saturated had to say. I think they're both on the right track.
Yep. Saturated says Josh Allen is thrown a pick in his last 11 games versus NFC. Looks like a good look. Anthony agrees as well. Likes both quarterbacks should throw a pick. Booper says he hates playing points with Baker, but it's got to be the play. Edgar asking a question here. He says Tampa has only scored one touchdown the last two games. Is that concerning?
I would say this. I just talked about how I played New England and Buffalo to go over last week. New England probably only scored two. I don't have it in front of me, but I know they weren't scoring any points prior to last week, and they scored 29. Those injuries to Buffalo are crucial here. And when you let New England go 25 of 30, we don't. Is somebody in the chat, go ahead and look it up, what New England had scored prior to that Buffalo game last week. But I know it wasn't much because they were the point of a lot of jokes. Their offense and Mac Jones and Bill Belichick. Is he going to get out of there? And last week they come up with 29. So, yeah, I mean, is it concerning if you're the Tampa Bay offense? Yes, but is it concerning in this situation, or can they get, I don't want to say on track like they're going to be a locomotive and score 40, but can they score more than they've scored previously against a banged up defense? Maybe so.
So I want to dig a little bit deeper into this, Rob. You made up a point about Buffalo's defense being injured, and that's why New England maybe was able to score a little bit more last week. So if you like I want to see which side of the total are we going to be on here. Like either you like the under, maybe just because it's a primetime game, that's what you're looking at. But it sounds like we can't really trust Buffalo's defense in this situation. And this is what I have written down for this play. Wasn't sure if I'm going to make it, but this is what I have. Bills team total over. It was 24 and a half. Last 2 years, Bills put up an average of 28.5 points per game on Thursday Night Football. All those games were on the road, but the Bills averaged more points per game at home than on the road. Says since Josh Allen took over as quarterback, after a loss in the next game at home, they're averaging just under 28 points per game. Says just what you're saying there, Rob. Bills defense is without two of his best players, Matt Milano and Tre'Davious White. And Buffalo knows after last week's loss to New England, they're going to have to hold up the team by putting up points until the Bills get, some of those defensive reinforcements back. So would you agree with that for a Buffalo team total over? Would you be more towards that side of the total?
Yeah, I'm trying to do the math in my head, Skee, and what the odds makers are telling us just by line and total is they think it's, or, not that they think it's, but what the line and total are telling us is it's probably a 27-17 type game, right? That puts you on 10 and 44. And we're sitting at 9.5 and 43.5. So 27-17 is what you're looking toward if you're just going off of the line. Very, very possible. I think last week, the reason why I made the play was Ed Oliver was also out of the game, and he's questionable here. So if he comes back tonight and the front four has him along with the other three guys to put pressure on Mayfield, that could help the defense out quite a bit. And obviously, all that stuff is hand in glove. Your pass coverage, your pass rush, they go together. So we'll see what Oliver ends up doing. And then the second thing to that is Thursday nights are always tricky, but you brought up some numbers that are key here where just Buffalo is concerned that even on the short week, Thursday night football, they come out and score 28 a game. Generally speaking, the Thursday night games over the years have been lower scoring. Teams don't have enough prep time. They're still banged up from Sunday. But to know that Buffalo is one of those teams that bounces back and scores big, and they do perform off losses well offensively, I think if I were to look one way, I would probably look that way. But these numbers just, to me, they seem to be so tight in this game that it's hard for me to play full game over. I could see it going either way. But like I say, it's hard to make a counter argument against Buffalo not getting to that point unless Tampa Bay's defense just frustrates them so that they can't move the football. They're still a one-dimensional team, right? Buffalo still doesn't run it well. They throw it, but they don't run it well. And that's hard to predict defensive scores, but maybe that helps you out here too.
All right, one more comment and one more question here. Rick White, he says New England had scoring problems before that Buffalo game, but New England was at home though. Trust Tampa Bay on the road to score. He can't trust. And Sean is asking, would we rather have Buffalo team total in the first half at 13 and a half, just expecting them to score 2 touchdowns early, kind of get in and get out. So the question is first half 13 and a half or full game 24 and a half? Which one would be your preference?
You know what? If I had a preference, it would be that first half. That's a good point out of Sean. Buffalo's the type of team that, especially with that home crowd, can get out quickly here and maybe catch Tampa Bay off guard early. So, yeah, I'm not going to say that I wouldn't like full game, but if you're going to ask me which I would prefer, if I had a choice of which bet to make, I would play Buffalo over 13 and a half first half. I think, to me, that sounds better.
All right, good stuff. I feel like we did a pretty solid job on this Thursday night football game. Unless you have anything else to add, Rob, we can move on over to NBA.
Let's go to the NBA.
All right, let's do it. We have 2 games here in the association, and looks like the first one up is going to be Sixers at the Bucs. This game opened Sixers minus 1.5. We've seen. Let me just make sure I'm reading this right. Yeah, Sixers minus 1.5, and we now see the Bucs -6 pretty much everywhere. Total open 225, and we're looking at 227.5 for today. Injury report. Let me just hit the refresh button here because we have passed that first mark where they send in the injuries. Looks like nobody is on there for the Milwaukee side, and for Philly, we all know James Harden was not going to be available. So my initial thoughts for this game, Rob, it's going to take a little bit of time for Milwaukee to really get that rhythm and get rolling. Like, it's not just the same team that's been together the past few years. It's going to be a little bit of a different dynamic right now. And so until they kind of, figure it out completely, I don't really want to be laying, expecting them to win by multiple possessions, at least this early in the season. So I'm scared of that -6. Now, on the flip side, we have the Sixers who are without James Harden. But is that really like how much of a loss is it to be without James Harden at this point? Like he's already been starting to look like a shell of himself. He doesn't want to be there. Was he going to help this team if he was in the game anyway? I don't think so. And him returning to the team and then them telling him, "You're not coming with us on the road," that pretty much tells me that Philly wants to come out in this game and prove that they can win and they can compete without James Harden and they don't need him. So, and this is a team who, they don't have too many of those moving pieces. This group was together last year. So I think they'll be able to keep this one within a few possessions for the game, if not win outright. And another thing I like here is, you got Tyrese Maxey on one side, and you look at the other side, it's food. Like Damian Lillard is a cone. What is it, Malik Beasley? He's not stopping anybody. So I just see Tyrese Maxey having a lot of success tonight. So my first thing I went to was Maxey over his 22.5 points. And I think, if the Sixers are going to cover, which I think they can, if they're going to win, it's definitely going to be because Maxey has something to say about it. So that's the play that I made initially. And I also like Giannis over 11.5 rebounds. Every game he played versus Sixers last year, he had 13 plus. And you just think about how this game should be played, right? Brook Lopez versus Joel Embiid. Brook Lopez is going to be sitting out there floating on the 3-point line trying to take Embiid away from the rim. And it should leave opportunity for Giannis to come in there and maybe grab some offensive rebounds or whatever the case. And then on the other end, it's just Giannis versus PJ Tucker. It's just so much of a height advantage that I think he just continues to take advantage. So Giannis over 11 and a half rebounds, Maxey over 22 and a half points. I really, really want to get there with the Sixers plus 6. Can you talk me into it? Can you talk me off? How do you feel about this game, Rob?
I don't know if I can talk you into the side either way, Ski, but I talked myself right into total. I think this game's going to go over. Milwaukee, we know, plays at pace. That pace is only going to get quicker with Damian Lillard out there. Obviously, you mentioned it. He's way more of an offensive guard than a defensive guard, where Drew Holiday was more of a defensive guard. And although he provided offense, not the type of offense that Dame provides, you add to it, this is a team that was banged up a lot last year. These guys like Middleton and Connaughton, they were out quite a bit, three-point shooters, scorers. Now they're back healthy. Milwaukee's loaded with scoring. And I don't know that Philadelphia defensively can stop much of that. You talked about the height advantage Giannis will have on his end. And I think on the other side of the coin, you're absolutely right with Tyrese Maxey. And I should have looked this up, Ski, but they played a little bit last year without James Harden in certain situations. And it just, maybe I'm just recalling games where he did so. But it seems to me like Tyrese Maxey came up with big point production a lot of the time when Harden wasn't out there. You know, when Harden's out there,
He
it
averaged
seemed to me.
24.8 points per game.
Yeah, there you go. And I think it's just because he feels like now he's got the green light with Harden out there. Tyrese Maxey's the kind of kid that's somewhat deferred a little bit, you know, Harden and Embiid and then me. But when Harden's not out there, it's me and Joel, and I'm going to go get mine, and he can go get his. So I like your thought process on that. I like the fact that Philadelphia's bench now provides, more offense with Kelly Oubre. I know he's a guy that can go 11 for 12 or 1 for 12, depending upon the night, but Kelly Oubre is an offensive type player. Melton and Pat Beverly, we know on the bench, is not as good of a defender as he's been in the past. So again, I look at all these matchups and I just see points. Now, the one thing that would slow you down, and the counter argument to this would be, you know, Philadelphia doesn't play with pace. And Philadelphia doesn't play with pace, but they do play with efficiency, right? It's not like they're a team that goes slow and scores 99. They go slow and score 114, 115 because they're so efficient, because Joel will get to the free throw line 17 times and make 16 of them. He'll go 10 of, 16 for 15 from the field. So I think this one gets over. I think the money that came in early this morning was right. I think it boosted from 225 all the way to 227. I still think there's room there. I like points here. I think the pace will be there, and I think the efficiency certainly will be there. And to your point about Milwaukee maybe needing some time, that also exists on the defensive end, right? They're going to need some time on the defensive side. And I don't know. We're going to see what Milwaukee does this year, Skee, but without Coach Bud on the sidelines this year, and maybe they just become this offensive team that outscores opponents. They're certainly going to be capable of it. I'll take my chances with that early on here with this game going over 227.
Yeah, I agree. I think they do play faster whenever, you have Maxey being one of the leaders for the team as far as who's supposed to be doing the scoring, because that's just how he plays. He's an up-tempo guy. So I think I agree with you. The move is correct. I would only take this one over at the moment. There were some comments here. Let me scroll back up a little bit. They're kind of saying it was saturated that I really want to talk about here. He says, how long does it take for Dame and Giannis to jail? Did it take the Celtics long to figure it out? He says, I don't know how much I buy into the Bucks starting slow. If Zingas in the season come out fast, so can the Bucks. And then there was a comment here, and I agree with this here. Casey says, Celtic starters complement each other more than the Bucks to me. And I would agree with that. And the Celtics are a team that can play defense, and the Bucks make their defense worse. So I just think those are the two differences. What do you think, bro?
Well, I think personality-wise, there's going to be no clash between Giannis and Dame, right? They don't care. I get the ball first, you get the ball second. It's not Dame's team. It's always going to be Giannis's team, I guess, because he's the face of the Milwaukee Bucks. If you even like that phrase, somebody's team. I don't think they're going to step on each other's toes. I think they can coexist right off the bat offensively. But again, I think we'll just reemphasize the point you started making that I finished off, that the Bucs are not going to be a good defensive team. I don't think, especially on the perimeter where they can be exploited. So to me, they're an over team until further notice. To Saturated's point, I would agree with you on the offensive end. I think they could gel. It's on the defensive end where, losing Drew Holiday, substituting Damian Lillard for Drew Holiday is a significant loss on the defensive side, on the perimeter for sure.
I'm with you. And Rick White, I played his points personally, but I'm not mad if you want to play points and assists. I just think he's about to eat tonight. But we shall see. I'm not mad at whichever way you want to go. I really want to get here, Rob, with this side. I think I will by the end of the day. I just, overnight, I didn't feel like it was a rush to bet the Sixers because I feel like everybody's going to bet the Bucks anyway. I saw it go up to 6.5. I feel like I seen it come back. It went up to 6.5 and came back down to 6, but I can still get a 6.5 at 2 shops right now. So I think that's enough for me to get involved. You can't talk me off, huh, Rob?
I just think as long as you have Joel Embiid on your side, you can stick within 6. And I do agree with you that Tyrese Maxey, what's he, 4th year now? I mean, he's shown veteran type qualities for a couple of years now. So James Harden is James Harden at this point in name only. I don't think he's that in, player status anymore. And I think the Sixers realize they can get along without him. They're going to hold out, get the best trade. And I don't think the product on the floor is really hindered that much. Again, they picked up Oubre on the second unit for offensive firepower. They've got enough assist guys. DeAnthony Melton can play point. Pat Bev plays point. Everybody plays point. So I don't know. I just don't think Philly's that big of a downgrade. Let's put it that way. Without James Harden, I think Tyrese Maxey, it's his time to be the starting point guard. Let's go.
I'm with you on that. So we did a pretty good job on Sixers versus Bucks. A couple more comments. Munaf looks like he's with me on Giannis rebounds over 11.5. Bill McDonald likes Bucks first half -3. And Greg says he thinks it's going to be a tight game. Zoned up. He likes Maxey assists laddered up. So we shall see.
Skee, let me just say one last thing here real quick, because your friend Glenn isn't the head coach walking the sidelines anymore, right? It's Nick Nurse now. And I know better. I know we call him Glenn on this show. You wonder if there's an adjustment to Nick Nurse. Is that a possibility with Philadelphia? I live right in this area. I haven't read any reports. I haven't heard any of the local media talk about that being a problem for Philadelphia. We'll never know till they get on the floor. But his system is different than what Doc's is. But it doesn't seem to me like Nick Nurse came into Philadelphia and started rearranging things, if you get what I'm trying to say here. I think he sees what's in place, and he's going to work with what's in place and what's worked for them and try and make it better. So, I mean, 2020 hindsight is always great, and we could look back after this game is over if Philly gets smashed and say, well, it's going to take them time to get used to Nick Nurse's system. That's the only thing and if that I could point to here with Philadelphia. But I don't think Nick Nurse is, so far from what I see and what I've heard here in town, I don't think it's been that big of an adjustment for the Sixers.
Yeah. I mean, we saw a new coach go over there in Detroit yesterday and keep it pretty close versus Miami, right? I think when new coaches come over, might be a little bit of a, how do I say? I mean, the Hornets too. New coach comes over there and they win. I think they want to get that first win for their new coach. So could be something to that. Munaf said, I like Boofer's comment, from a fake doctor to a fake nurse.
A real nurse.
Saturated wants thoughts on Lopez points. I don't feel strong either way. I mean, he's probably just going to stand on the 3-point line, get some open looks because Embiid doesn't want to be out there. But it's just not something I feel strong enough to bet. Munaf says Embiid's going to be out there for 45 minutes with Nick Nurse as the coach.
He does like to play like an iron 6, Nick Nurse, that's for sure.
Uh-huh. And Rick White said he's taking +6. The game over. Maxi points and assist over. So a lot of different opinions here. One thing we all can agree on. Ajax says it here. Doc Rivers was trash.
Man. They should actually. I heard him. I think he was an analyst for one of the networks the other night,
Yeah,
whether it be
he was
ESPN.
last night.
They should let him do Sixer games. That would be
It
great.
would be hilarious. I agree. Um, Greg is, I guess, going to lead us to the next game. Says Lakers need a new coach. Ham sandwich ain't it? I agree, man. I don't. I'm going to go as far to say they need a new coach, but I'm not liking what I'm seeing from his decision making. Um, we need some help. So let's move on over there. We'll go Suns heading into LA to take on the Lakers. Open Lakers -1. Spread is now looking like -6. Total open 230 and is down as low as 225.5 at a couple shops. Injury report. Let me just hit this refresh button. Make sure we're up to date. So for Phoenix, we still have Bill and Booker both doubtful. Damian Lee out. For the Lakers, they'll once again be without the services of Vanderbilt. Um, Cam Reddish popped up on the injury. Okay, he's likely to play. I was gonna say I didn't think he got hurt, but Cam Reddish is likely to play there. So Lakers should have everybody who played in that first game available here tonight. So I'm a little bit disappointed in myself because I really wanted to take the Lakers again in the second game. It left a bad taste in my mouth after that first game, so I held up a little bit. Um, sure enough, because I thought one of these guys was sit. I didn't think both of them was sit, but you get Booker. He wasn't even 50-50 to play that first game. Now he's doubtful. Like, I don't think the Suns have enough. If it's not Kevin Durant scoring, like, who's really getting buckets for this Phoenix team? So I would really love if Vanderbilt was in there. But I think you either like I would be thinking Phoenix team total under, or I honestly still think the Lakers can cover. Am I gonna bet them -6? I'm not doing that to myself. but but I am gonna get to the window with here. Two plays. Number one, I feel like everybody we saw LeBron, right? First off, telling D'Angelo Russell, give him the ball. He can see everything. He can play make from off the pick on right up there on the high post. And what did D'Lo do? Come down, ignore him, and shoot a three. And then talking to Coach Handy, um, just saying, y'all know I could play point guard too, right? Like he feel like he's just floating and they're not using him as much as they should be, or he can help the team more than he has been helping. So just him saying that, I think he'll be more involved as far as on ball and setting other people up. So I like him on his assist prop, but I'm going to combine it with the rebounds just because I just see a situation where, for one, personal opinion, you can like it, you cannot. LeBron doesn't play defense. He just kind of sits out there, waits for a shot to go up, and then tries to grab the rebound and get out and go. That's just where we're at right now for LeBron. So I think he's sitting there waiting on all the rebounds. Anthony Davis is blocking Nurkic out, and he gets on those breaks and is going to get the assist too. I like his rebounds plus assist over 12 and a half. And I also like Austin Reeves over, I got 22 and a half points, rebounds, and assists. He had a bad game, or in my opinion, he had a bad game in that first game for the Lakers, and he still made it to 26 points, rebounds, and assists. One thing about Austin Reeves, um, he can score. We all know that. He's going to get to the free throw line. He's going to hustle, get those rebounds if you need him to do that, and he can play make. So I think that if he's going to get it on a bad game, now we're going up against a Phoenix team who I don't think is very good defensively. I think he'll have success as well. So LeBron over 12 and a half rebounds plus assists. Austin Reeves over 22 and a half PRA. That's what I'm going to go with in this game. How are you looking at it, Rob?
Well, I got there already with the Lakers, but I got their Lakers first half -3.5. I just feel that they come out of that Denver game. I think they feel like it's a game that they somewhat disappointed. They're going to be in front of the home crowd tonight, home opener. There's extra juice in a home opener. Phoenix survived Golden State the other night. We're overly impressive, Skee. And now, like you say, we're going to lose Booker and Beal for this game and be on the road again against a team in their home opener in a divisional contest where they're all important. I just think the Lakers come out quick here. If they don't come out quick here, when will they come out quick? I think there's plenty of motivation for the LA side. I think this LeBron minutes restriction deal probably affects the team more in the second half than it does in the first half because he gets out there and plays right away. Jared Vanderbilt would be a necessity if Phoenix was at full strength. He's not a necessity, I don't think, with them not at full strength. And like you mentioned, aside from KD, I don't know where the consistent points are. They have scorers, but I mean consistent points every time down, somebody that you're drawing a play up for. They don't really have it other than Kevin Durant. So to me, I think Lakers come out hot here, win the first half by 4 points. That cashes our ticket. We'll see what happens in the second half. Phoenix played a gritty second half against Golden State the other night. They got pushed. And in the end, they were able to have enough resolve to get the win. I don't want to trust full game, but I do trust first half here with the Lakers. To your point about the props that you mentioned and LeBron on the defensive end, I think every time we see LeBron make a defensive play, it's from behind, right? It's something highlight reel worthy from behind chasing a play down and getting a block or something like that. It's never really defensive oriented from a fundamental standpoint. So, total wise, without Phoenix having their scores, you would think under. The totals come down quite a bit here. I don't know. I just thought that the standout play was Lakers first half. That's the way I went.
Can't talk you off. They should definitely be motivated. Man, I don't trust Anthony Davis no more, though. I'll tell you that right now. For him to be motivated in anything, if he wasn't motivated the way he was or how he was looking in the interview afterwards. I mean, I saw him in the offseason doing all that talking about that game, and then to go out there and score 0 second half points. I don't care about any excuse. Like, I just don't trust him no more. So I agree.
I need to ask you, because after the game, he said, because the second half was so poor, right? And he's like, I know I need to be more aggressive. And I'm thinking to myself, I got to ask you this. Is he reaching John Morant status now with those after game excuses? Like, we're going to learn from this. We're going to be better.
I give him credit for at least not crying on Twitter.
Yeah. I mean, it's, again, if I add to first half motivation, he's the guy who came under the most fire after that loss. And maybe he comes out and plays really well here first half. But I do trust them first half to win by 4.
Fair enough. I can't talk you off of that. So I think that's it, Rob. Unless you have anything else on this game. We got through every game on the slate. Not every game, but we got through one NHL game that I had for today. We got through NFL. We got through college football. And now we've gotten through NBA. So it's about that time where we think about everything that we've talked about and see if there's maybe one that you like a little bit more than the rest. And also, Rob, is there anything that you would like to promote?
Well, let's go ahead and take care of promotion first. You guys hear this over and over again when I'm on with Skee, but you can find all my work at wagertalk.com because we do put up on Twitter that we're going to be coming on live. We know that our good friend Johnny Detroit may tune in, so we want to make sure we push Wager Talk. All my work there. Tonight's plays are there. The weekend plays will be there. I also want to say real quick, if you're interested in college football, tune in this afternoon. I'll be doing the segment with Drew Martin as host on his Every Game on the Board show. I've got a section of games here. Rotation-wise, I believe it's between 169 and 192. So again, if you're interested in college football, tune in to Drew's show. Later on, I'll be on. I think we go on at 5 p.m. Eastern time. So that also be back tomorrow on Wager Talks College Football Today show. So you can tune in there for more college football if that's your thing. I'm going to say, Skee, that for today, everything that we discussed, I do like the Milwaukee-Philadelphia game over 227 the best. I know at this point we're not getting the best end of the number. I won't say the other phrase that's gotten me sort of pigeonholed now. But we don't have the best side of the number here. But I still think we've got wiggle room. I think this game gets to 230 plus. Milwaukee's going to play fast. Milwaukee's got a lot of scoring ability. Philadelphia, even though methodical, is very, very efficient on the offensive end. And I think you and I both agree that the downgrade, if there is any, from Harden to Maxey is so minimal. And maybe it's an upgrade offensively. Having Boofer's going to say it for me. There you go. Maybe we're at that stage right now, Boofer at 227, but I still think we can win with that portion of the line on our side here. So I'm going to play Milwaukee, Philadelphia, or Philadelphia, Milwaukee over 227 as the best bet for the show.
All right, good stuff. I agree with that play for sure. Boofer, with a reminder for everybody, if you like the show, if we're helping you guys out a little bit, hit the like button for us. That does help us out. It's much appreciated. And for my promo, you can still do the early bird special for Wager Talk. If you're interested in, getting every play right when I make it, you have to use coupon code, I believe is EBNBA. And I think that takes like $200 off. So if you're interested in joining for the season, that's a good way to do it. For my best bet for the show, I'll go with what I feel like is the most consistent prop since I was sharing a lot of props here. And I'm going to go Giannis. I bet it over 11 and a half rebounds. I haven't looked at it since I bet it, but if it went up to 12 and a half, I would take that too. Like I said, he's had 13 plus every game he played Philly last year. Munaf put it on the screen, I think earlier. He's went over 11 and a half rebounds 15 of the last 16 times versus Sixers. So a lot of reasons to like Giannis over his rebound prop tonight. That will be my best bet for the show. Thank you, Capper. I'll do that next time. He's always hooking me. I appreciate you guys. You guys always let me know, certain things I should be adding or doing, and it helps me make the show better. And I do want to say the show is nothing without you guys. You guys are the best chat room. A lot of great information. We like to have a good time in here, and I wouldn't have it any other way. You guys are the reason why I keep doing the show every single day. So you guys are much appreciated. Best of luck if you tell. Rob and I will be back tomorrow to discuss Friday's action, maybe a little bit of NFL as well, and we will catch you guys then.